All right, hello everyone. I'm Fred Oakman. Here with me today is the squirrel nut zipper. I'm just kidding. Jake can't be here today. My podcast host is not here. My co-host is not present, and we are recording this a little bit late. Jake wishes he could be with you, but he cannot. He has some things going on. But you're listening to PS's Awesome PlayStation Podcast. This is episode 370, where we dive into our thoughts on all things PlayStation. Before we jump in, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/PSisAwesome. You can watch the video version of the podcast, and you can check out our trophy list on PSN. I'm Anchorless_81. And if you want to follow Jake later, or now, he's not here, but JakeSaw01. Send your thoughts to PSisAwesome@gmail.com. Share the show with your friends. Don't forget to rate us. And for $1 a month on Patreon, that is 25 cents a week, you can join the one and only $1 club. You will get a free die-cut vinyl sticker. I've got them right here on the show, and shout out on the show. And so go to patreon.com/PSisAwesome to support us. Remember, if you like our podcast, it does a lot of good if you can like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. With that out of the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about my week, my things. There actually hasn't been a whole lot going on, if I'm being honest. We had some Hero Quest going on Sunday. We jumped into the Quest 4 on, what is it called? The Ogre, Return of the Ogre Horde? No, something of the Ogre Horde. It doesn't matter. But we played that, and some new mechanics coming to our Sunday game nights. And outside of that, just trying to get ahead of this freaking weather. I mean, jeez. The weather's been absolutely abysmal. It's been cold. And they say tomorrow. I'm recording this Tuesday. The episodes air every week on Wednesday for the listeners. And this is a show that is going to be a little bit abnormal or an outlier compared to the rest of the shows that you're normally used to. But I didn't want to go a week and not talk about video games. I have a little bit of a cold coming on, I think. My throat's very sore. My nose is a little runny. I attribute all of this to the terrible weather and the coldness. I just want spring to come, but it is not coming. So, did that. Played some Hero Quest. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on in my orbit this week. I watched an older movie called Fire in the Sky, and the guy who plays the bad guy in Terminator 2 is the main actor, one of the main actors in Fire in the Sky. Fire in the Sky is an older movie about an alien abduction. And I got to look at the bottom of it. I got to get to the bottom of this. I'm not sure if the alien abduction actually happened, and they film it and shoot it and present it in such a cool way that leaves you, the audience, still kind of guessing. It's an older movie. In fact, I kind of want to see when Fire in the Sky released. I watched it Friday. It wasn't my first time. This movie came out in 93. The synopsis is, in 75, a group of 5 men are driving home after working in a forest when they see a mysterious light. Intrigued, Travis Walton leaves the truck, only to be sucked up by a flying saucer. The other 4 men report the strange event, but they are skeptically interrogated by Lieutenant Frank Waters, who suspects that murder is behind Walton's disappearance. And then Walton, the guy who disappeared, reappears 5 days later, and he is saying he was abducted by aliens. He has PTSD and all kinds of stuff. I thought that there was a true story behind this. It says, in brief, Travis Walton is a storied UFO abduction. He was part of the crew of lumberjacks driving home when they were confronted. Walton ran toward the UFO and was knocked to the ground by a beam from the craft. I don't know. There were rumors that this was actually based on a true story. Fire in the Sky based on a true story? ? Although it plays like a TV movie of the week for most of its runtime, it's heart-stopping, based on the true story of UFO abductee Travis Walton. So, yeah, he swears up and down this happened to him. They all take lie detector tests. They all pass. It's absolutely riveting. It's called Fire in the Sky. Check it out if you haven't watched it. The acting is still good. It holds up. And let me see who the cast was. Fire in the Sky cast. Let's see who. The Terminator guy, Robert Patrick. He plays Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers was the guy, Travis's best friend in the show. So it's an interesting movie. I don't think there were a ton of other famous people, but some of the guys, it's one of those things where, like, it's weird looking back at it because, like, you look at these guys and they're supposed to be like 20-year-olds and they all look way older than I look now, and I'm 43. They just look like they got mustaches and they're big and they're bold and they're like, yeah, we're fucking loggers and shit. So it's just weird how, I don't know. I'm never going to look like an adult as far as I'm concerned. That's just me ranting. But I watched that movie on Friday. It was a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. There's some really gruesome shit going on with the aliens. You get to see what the aliens do to good old Travis while he's up in the saucer machine. It's pretty wild, actually. There might be some news points today about PlayStation that I'm not going to cover. I did some notes yesterday, and Jake said he might not be able to do the podcast. We usually record on Monday. He said he didn't know if he was going to be able to do it, so he wasn't able to. So I took some notes Monday night, and then it's going to be a short episode, guys. But I did get some notes taken down last night, and I haven't looked at any news today, so we're just going to get into it. Every episode we talk about games we're playing. We don't know what Jake's playing. I guess he's probably still doing Avowed or some shit. I don't know. But I beat another game in a week. So there was a game on the PlayStation Plus Extra, and I think this is hold on, let me see who made this game. It's a rhythm game. It was weird. Developed by Simogo, Simogo. I just want to know who actually put this game out. Let me see. Publisher, Annapurna. Annapurna, the folks behind Stray, put this game out in 2019. This game's called Sayonara Wild Hearts. And I went into my PlayStation Plus because I haven't been using it much, and this is one of the games I said, hey, you should check this out. Time to Beat was pretty small. It's a rhythm game. It has like motorcycle riding and stuff in it. It's described as a rhythm action video game, and also described as a pop album video game. It just kind of follows this story of a character, and everything is just hyper real, like in a way, like it was just each game has its own song, and the goal is to kind of collect coins or hearts or whatever. It's available on iOS also, and it didn't really handle fantastically, but some of the levels were kind of fun. It was a really quick playthrough, for free. Yeah, awesome. I mean, the graphics and everything were really interesting. So one of those indie games that was just kind of cool. But anyways, I played Sayonara Wild Hearts, beat it. I didn't get like any big trophies or anything. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, what am I thirsty for? What do I want to play? What do I want to play? This is a question we often ask ourselves. We have a niche we can't scratch. We try something. Maybe it doesn't fulfill our wishes. Maybe it doesn't hit the nail on the head, and you turn the game off and you're still left kind of like jonesing for whatever it is. And I was like, well, you know what I think I need? I need a turn-based RPG. I need one. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm going to check and see if Octopath Traveler is on sale. I never played the first one, and I had never played the second one. Well, the first one was still retail on the PSN for like $60. And the second one, though, was on sale for $29.99. And I said, well, let me dip my toes into this. So I'm going to give you a little bit about this game. and what it's all about. And first off, it's an RPG, and it's got that 2.5D aesthetic. Its developers are Square Enix Acquire, and Square Enix published it. And the first game was really apparently well received. But it's an RPG, so Square Enix and Acquire have developed the game, and this is a sequel to the 2018 Octopath Traveler 2, or Traveler, sorry. And there is a mobile game in between that was released in 2020 called Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent, and I never got into that. I downloaded it, I tried it, I didn't really get into it. But it's essentially you have a party of 4 people, and there are a total of 8 characters in the game that you can bring into the party. And the way that this game works is you choose one character and you just walk around and you get chapter 1 of their story. There's a hunter character, there's an apothecary character, there's a thief character, a scholar character, there's a merchant, a dancer, a cleric, and a warrior. And I started with the warrior. And his name is Hikari Ku. And he comes from the kingdom of Ku. His story starts off where he's kind of forced to flee. He has an elder brother who stages a coup, kills the current king, and his big strong brother takes over the kingdom in the process. And then your mission as Hikari is to set out and recruit former allies of the slain king to overthrow your brother and reclaim your throne. And your goal essentially is to use violence to get to peace. You want everybody to be peaceful. You want nations to work together. Your brother is just a warlord. So there's that character. But as you play it, the chapters initially, the intros are always pretty cool. So far, my favorite character is a merchant, surprisingly, named Particio. And his story starts off, he's a kid, and his father is into the iron business. And they lived in extreme poverty. And then a businessman does a bad deal with the dad and puts their entire town under poverty. So he sets out. His mission is to eliminate poverty from the world. And he's really good at wheeling and dealing. And it's interesting. So his story so far, I've done some cool things. I helped somebody build a steam engine. And I'm helping the guy who invented the phonograph come up with a way to sell it, which is instead of just selling the device, have it play music. So I'm hiring musicians that I come into and leading them to this guy so he can record their music and sell his cool invention, the phonograph. So it's an interesting game. There's combat. There are job classes, so each character has their main job, merchant, whatever, and then you get a subclass down the road. And as you play the game, you level up. The leveling system seems to be okay, but there was a level 18 boss. I was level 20, and I was having a very difficult time defeating the boss. And you do have to implement some tactics. There's a neat gameplay mechanic called breaks. So it's pretty much like a traditional JRPG, but you move around the world, and there's a turn-based battle system. So there's break and boost systems. And every enemy has weaknesses attributed that are related to a particular weapon or an element. And the only way you discover their weaknesses is you can use a skill, or you can hit them with a weapon, and if they're weak to it, it'll tell you. And then they have a shield level. And if you hit them X amount of times using their weakness, it'll freeze them and lock them up so they miss their turn. So there's ways to kind of get around really tough people. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. There are a couple crossed path chapters, which means different characters in your group will have like a mini side quest or something. And that's kind of cool. And ultimately, it got really good reviews. You know, if I go on OpenCritic, I've got 25 hours into it right now. OpenCritic, Octopath Traveler 2. Let's see. Let's see what they say here, guys. Yeah, not too shabby. 85 top critic average, and critics recommend it with a 95%. And the player rating's an 18 out of 20. Nice little game. It is a little repetitive, and the grinding to get leveled up to some point is kind of frustrating and annoying. So just beware that it is one of those kind of games. I've played worse. I've played better when it comes to the grinding. But it's a good game, and I recommend it for some people. And let's move in. We had no listener feedback. We're going to get into some news, and then we're going to talk about some new games. I only have 4 news points. I'm going to be out of your hair. It's going to be a really short episode, guys. I don't like to just keep talking to talk, and that's not the kind of podcast we are anyways. And it's 7:47 on a Tuesday, and I have, I don't know, probably an accumulative 1.5 to 4 hours of driving tomorrow for work, so I'm not going to have a late night. But I'm going to upload this so everybody has access to the show. So let's get into it. But first, we're going to touch on Assassin's Creed Shadows. It has been released into the wild. The game apparently had the best day ever. The best ever day one launch for the Assassin's Creed series on the PSN. What that means is the title has surpassed over 2 million players in the first 2 days. That's pretty darn good. That bodes well for the Assassin's Creed franchise. It also bodes well for Ubisoft, who I think have been kind of out on a limb here. They needed this game, and the game's going to deliver. Now, I don't know how the reviews have been for the game. I think that they have been generally pretty positive, but they're probably not as good as what Ubisoft probably wanted. But people seem to be enjoying the game. So 2 million players first 2 days. That's pretty incredible. And next news point, we got word that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle are going to hit PSN on April 17th, 2025. So we're going to be getting this. This came out on Microsoft and PC and stuff first. And it's right around the bend. I'm recording this March 25th. So in less than a month, we're going to have access to Indiana Jones Great Circle. And I will remind you guys that this is not your average run-and-gun game per Jake. It's a little different in that regard, but he did say it was good. And 2 more news points. There was a game for fans of the horror genre that was announced for 2026 on the PS5. The game's called Dark Mass. Not to be confused with the Netflix series Black Mass. This game has the player going on a third-person it's highly detailed. This game looks good. Diving expedition. And then they find some really, really messed up, scary things under the water. And number 1, I love horror. Number 2, I love original horror. So this is all of that. Imagine getting underwater and seeing, like in the trailer, they're like in the ocean and they just see this dilapidated house built but just on the bottom of the ocean floor, and she's like, what? And then she goes in, and then there's just all kinds of scary shit going on, right? So cool idea. If you're afraid of drowning, if you're afraid of the dark, if you're afraid of scary paranormal shit, it's all happening in Dark Mass. Game's coming out in 2026. Something to keep your eyes open for. If you want, there's a trailer on the Push Square website. And my last news point, everybody knows that Darkest Dungeon 2 was a big game. I put a lot of hours in, 120 hours maybe, into this game. Lots of hours. The DLC released early for PC gamers, and I'm happy to announce that the free DLC called Kingdoms and the free DLC called Inhuman Bondage are now available on the PlayStation. So I don't know if I'm going to jump right back into it, but man, what a great game. If you guys haven't played Darkest Dungeon, you need to. And we're going to come in under a half hour maybe on this show. I do appreciate you guys listening. I'm not trying to shortchange you. I just don't want to. I guess I don't want to be long for the sake of being long-winded here. And like I said, my compadre is gone. I tried to get LJ on the show. He couldn't do it. Tried to get my brother on the show. He respectfully said no, not interested, which is a shame because he's been playing a lot of games lately. He's a little camera shy. He doesn't really like to talk. He's more of an introvert. I'm an introvert in hiding. I pretend I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert. So, lastly, guys, new games this week. Let's talk about some games coming out, and I'll read a few of these descriptions for you. This came via Push Square. March 24th on the PS5, Cypress Legacy. March 25th on PS5, PS4, Breakout Beyond. March 25th on the PS5, PS4, Akatsuki, Lord of the Dawn. March 27th, AI Limit. March 27th, Atomfall. A survival action game inspired by real-life events. Atomfall is set 5 years after the Windscale nuclear disaster in northern England. Heard that game's pretty cool. March 27th, PS5, PS4, Blue Wednesday. Care Bears, Unlock the Magic, March 27th, PS5, PS4. PS5, PS4, March 27th, Distant Bloom. So we have Bloom and Rage, and now we have Distant Bloom. Distant Bloom says, welcome to Distant Bloom, a cozy management and exploration game far away from home. After a long expedition through space, you and your crew land on an alien planet with the critical mission of establishing a new home for your species. But this place is very different from the vision you saw through your telescope. What happened to the verdant life of this world? And what will happen to you? PSVR 2, March 27th, Hitman, World of Assassination. You can play more than 20 locations on that. March 27th, PS5, PS4. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Okay. All right. Let's keep on going. March 27th on PS5, Instruments of Destruction. This is a vehicle action game. Lots of physics-based destruction and vehicles at your disposal to screw around with. Gal Guardian, Servants of the Dark, March 27th, PS5, PS4. Karma, The Dark World on March 27th, PS5. It's a first-person cinematic psychological thriller set in a dystopian world where the Leviathan Corporation is omnipresent. The time is 1984, the place is East Germany, and things are not quite what they seem. Shadow the Orient, March 27th, PS5, PS4. Sports Renovations, March 27th on PS5. This is essentially giving sports facilities a second life in a story-driven simulator. Restore glory to old gyms, courts, and pitches. And add a sprinkle of your own style. The First Berserker, Kazan, March 27th. So many games, PS5. We got 2 left. Venus Vacation, Prism, Dead or Alive, Extreme, March 27th, PS5, PS4. And lastly, Dollhouse Behind the Broken Mirror, March 28th on PS5. That is a terrifying first-person horror adventure game that tells the dark and mysterious story in a cinematic style. And with that, that's all I got for the show, guys. It's 23 minutes in. I hope that you are patient with Jake and myself. We do the best we can to give you the best show that we can. And not every week the weeks are going to line up right. So I just wanted to pop in, say hello, talk about a couple things I had on our notes for this week, even though Jake couldn't make it in. And I really hope you guys have a great week. And chime in, leave a comment, whatever. Check us on iTunes. Like I said, if you want to join the Patreon, it's literally $0.25 a week. If we can get enough people to donate, maybe we can make this a bigger thing than what it is, and our lives will all be happier and for the better. Otherwise, we'll just keep doing it the way we've been doing it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Have a good week. And until next time. Oh, crap. I don't have a closer. Oh, no. I don't have a closer. Oh, man. I did not come prepared. I thought I was ready to rock and roll. Let me pull this up real quick. Jeez, that was such a good outro, too. Completely winging it today. All right, let's try this again. Like Ace Combat Infinity, Adrift, and Agile Warrior F111X. P.S. This is awesome.